Are there any Grail knives out there that you can get your hands on for just $300? We're going to find out that and more on today's episode of Knife AQ, episode 188, where I answer all your questions, sharp or dull. Let's get into it. All right, if you're new to the Knife AQ series, what we do is we answer your questions. Where do we get those questions? That's a good question. We get them from the comments section below these videos. So if you've got a question yourself, thinks it merits consideration for a future episode, drop it in the comments below. Please and thank you. First question today comes from Chris WR350. Hello, DCA. Thanks for the informative and entertaining
We're a minute in.
Content. I have a question that I hope you will be able to help with. I'm a single dad of 4 little boys. It's not a question, but I cannot help you with that, unfortunately. And I am on an extremely tight budget, like hand-to-mouth tight. My only hobby is my love of knives. I've always wanted a Grail knife, but there's no way I could possibly afford one. In your opinion, what's the closest to Grail quality, should put that in quotes, that I could get with a $300 budget? Could I possibly do more? Maybe, or I could possibly do more, maybe $350. This is just a safe piece that me and my boys can look at and admire from time to time. Thanks for any help you could possibly give. Sure thing, man. Yeah, as a non-single dad of 2 children, I can't imagine single parenting 4 kids.
Man, it's tough feeding myself.
Well, you're kind of a towering redwood of a man over
and
there.
I'm hungry.
And he's always hungry, so you're in a bit of luck. Because today, with $300 budget, there is so much out there that is just so good, quite honestly. Like extremely good. But there's actually a fair bit to sift through. There's a lot of, $250 to $300 knives that are world class, world quality. So this was kind of an excuse for me, at least, to try and find the things that, at least to me, stand out a little bit more from that crowded pack. And ultimately, everyone's definition of what a Grail knife is going to be is different. But no matter who's making the definition, I think there's an element of specialness to that unattainable object that kind of enters into the equation. So what's the most special feeling to me at this price range? I've got some options here for you. Now, in some ways, the actual utility of these knives can be a little bit secondary. One, because it's a Grail knife, it can be whatever, but also you're saying it's just a thing that you and your boys can admire. So I won't just stick to just the plainly useful stuff. We're going to start with that, however. This right here, I think, is very Grail worthy, not because it's over the top and stunningly, stunningly over the top and super obvious as to why it is worthy of the attention. But the Moki Kronos is built with an attention to detail and a subtle refinement that every single time I pick one up to show it in one of these videos, I'm just smitten with. I mean, this is one of those things where you're really getting something close to, if not equaling, master craftsman handmade level traditional pocket knives, but in a production format. This one comes in at about $278. 3.2 inch blade. It's VG10. It's not a super exotic steel. But again, the thing that makes this knife special is just the utter perfection of the build quality. I mean, look at the amazingly precise grinds on that, the very slim, tapered, elegant shape, the high polished finish, which is of course always Thomas's favorite to film, as we like to mention here. The bone handles here with jigging. Just, it is hard to put into words why this is so good. It is one of those things, if you're picking it up to admire it, it is special. And probably is one of those things that I have not bought several times at this point, because this is not one that fits my particular collecting or itches my collector's bone. And it's also not one I would find myself reaching for to use too often. But as a piece to admire, gosh, it's just so good. But what if you don't want just kind of that subtle sophistication that the Moki brings, bridging the gap to some larger, more visually bombastic shapes? We'll go with that. The MKM Hero could be a really cool option. I like the olive wood here for its beauty. Each piece is going to have its own beauty. These are about $280. 3.5-inch M390 blade made in Italy. I'm not sure which of the MKM partners made this one actually. It feels a lot like a Viper to me, but I am not sure. So don't quote me on that. Big broad blade, beautiful touches like the crowned spine, which goes into or melds into the crowned backspacer and crowned lock bar, crowned and jimped lock bar. Just super nice details. Titanium integrated bolsters or integral bolsters with the titanium liners, deep carry pocket clip. And one of the cool things, it's actually a flippy friendly lockback, which is not a combination that usually presents itself. And actually, that's another cool detail I like about it. The closed profile of this knife is even well considered and beautiful. Check that out as a possibility. If you want something that's more like a modern flipper, modern frame lock flipper perhaps, or not necessarily, but like that modern flipper style, Best Tech makes a lot of good stuff in this price range. Concept, the same. We Knife Company especially, I think, has a ton of models that fit in this price range that are worthy of consideration. But I'm going to show you the Speed liner right here. It's a very arresting shape, comes in about $285. We've got a 20 CV blade, about 3.4 inches with that straight backed profile. And here's the special detail on this one that made me pick this over a couple of the others I was considering for this video. This backspacer piece here is just very, very cool, very well integrated with the rest of the handle. The way it fits together is super nice. It forms the lanyard hoop there at the back while not feeling like it's an entirely separate piece, even though it is. It's just such a perfect meld right there. Build quality is exceptional. Flipping action is excellent as well. Hard to go wrong with stuff like this. They make stuff even more quote unquote special feeling at even higher prices, but there is a lot of stuff in this range like this. You're not gonna get into one of their integrals, but this kind of gets close to something like that. The other one that strikes me as a great option actually won Knife Collaboration of the Year at Blade Show East this year in 2024, and that is the Carbon Knives Buckhorn. Designed by Ken Onion, built by Ketuo, I think is the name of the OEM for this. But this thing really ups the ante in the amount of sophistication in a modern, frame lock flipper that you can get in this kind of price range. $270 for it. 3 3/4 inch blade, S35 VN, so arguably a rung down on the ladder from like the 20 CVs and M390 in terms of edge retention and in terms of perceived premium qualities, but they make up for that with the amazingly sophisticated handle right here. I mean, the contouring itself is excellent. The milling on it enhances those contours, and the contrasting milling here around the bolster area and the tail end is beautiful. As you move it around in the light, you get all kinds of different facets showing off their good looks. The backspacer, you can see it's secured by just two screws here on the back, but there's some cool stuff going on internally. You can see how it's kind of holding itself in place. I love the style of that kind of shell casing pivot right there. The action is quite good. Overall, it just feels great. And it feels like a Ken Onion too. Like, say that like it should be obvious. He is the designer, of course. But the blade shape here, I think, does one of those things that Ken has always been known for, which is creating a shape that feels unique. It feels like it's something a little different. It's something a little outside, the obvious things that other companies are doing, and yet still feels instantly of its time and in place and natural, which, I've drawn some stuff up over my time that I try to make look different, and it doesn't look nearly as elegant as what the master here is able to achieve. Those are 4 folders you could check out. I got one other one. Like, I talked about something over the top and something that it's worthy of awe. TBD, your jury's out on whether this large Espada, the Espada XL, would kind of qualify for a Grail knife, but you tell me. Actually, yeah, this is the wrong one. So the large Espada is smaller than this and comes in at $289. This is the Espada XL, which is going to be more expensive. So I grabbed the wrong one. I apologize for that.
Talk about your elephant in the room.
Now I got to find the price of this. All right, so this is $333. So you said you might be able to stretch it a bit up to $350. So if you stretch a little bit, this, if you consider this kind of Grail worthy, could fit. 7.5-inch blade, S35 VN steel, polished G10 handles. I believe it's just aluminum bolsters. I've still got the protective cover there on it. I mean, just a pleasure to behold for sure. It doesn't have the same sort of sophisticated feeling as some of these folders. That's not what it's going for now, is it? But yeah, come on. You got your pocket deploying thumb plate there. Let me know in the comments. Is the Espada XL the full fat version like this at least? Is that a Grail knife? Anyway, let me know. Other things you could check out, apart from folders, don't discount fixed blades as well. There's certainly the argument to be made that you can get more for your money with a fixed blade. For example, I mean, this Laredo Bowie from Cold Steel is about $292, and huge 10.5-inch chunk of 3V steel. I mean, that's 5/16 of an inch thick. I'm not even sure how thick that is. 8 millimeters, whatever that's, translate. It's up there. Yeah. Grail worthy, maybe it doesn't feel like special enough in terms of its adornments. It's certainly exceptionally well made. Like, don't get me wrong there, but Grail worthy, I'm not sure. One, however, that is the Boker Arbolito Escolta knife right here. $280, and this is a knife that truly has the feel of a handmade custom knife. And you can find some handmade custom knives in this this price range on the fixed blade side of things for sure. But we got a 6.5-inch blade here, very fine satin finish on it, and $695 steel, stag handles, tapered tang with liners on it, crossguard. I mean, truly hand-built feel to this knife, and comes with an amazing, nicely tooled leather sheath as well. Certainly worthy of admiration, worthy of drooling over every time you pick it out, and feels special, at least to me. Just check out some fixed blades as well. I hope that helps your dire situation. Well, now we'll come to our next segment, which is called Damyr's Buried Treasure, where we're going through the alphabet of brands we carry here at the Knife Center and picking out a brand we haven't shown on the channel before. And today we're looking at Gear for Life is the brand. And it's sort of easy to see why this may have been overlooked, because we only have two models on the site right now. It's called the Fast Eddie V1. There is a VG10 and G10 handled version for about $70. Or you can upgrade, same blade steel, but you can get a titanium handled version for about $109. So it kind of sits right above a lot of those cutoffs we look at. We're like, $100 cutoff. This is $109, and it's only two small knives in the whole catalog of how many in stock or active SKUs did we have last week or earlier this week?
Earlier it was 18,000.
18,000 in stock.
In stock.
In stock. So even more that you could order. Here you go. The Fast Eddie V1, $109. You've got a 2.8-inch drop point blade, nicely shaped and nicely finished. The titanium handles have nice fine milling on it. It's about a 3-finger grip, I would say, for me. If I choke up, I can get just barely all 4 of my digits on there if I really need to. Inset liner lock, nice little touch. We've got ball bearings in the pivot for good flipping action. Blade stock is nice and on the thin side, so it's going to slice really well for just a general purpose EDC. You've got a deep carry pocket clip as well, with a flush mounted screws and inset into the contoured handle. Very nice little knives. I don't know much more about the brand. I know we get it from the same supplier we get our Phoenix flashlights from. Yeah, we don't have a lot more information on the site. So if you know more about Gear for Life, if you know any kind of cool stories about them, let me know in the comments, because it's a very nicely made little knife. Now we come to the lightning round for today. First question is from Artelind SSB. Potential lightning round question. Potential no more, good friend. Do you know who makes Nitro-V steel, or is it a generic steel that lots of companies produce? So Nitro-V, which you can find on this Riot PLXT right here with a really cool button style lock centered around the pivot, or comprising the pivot. Cool little knife. Nitro-V steel is made in Germany, as far as I know, by Buderus Steel, and it is made for and sold exclusively by New Jersey Steel Baron here in, you guessed it, New York, no, New Jersey. So it's not a generic steel, but it is similar to some other non-generic and name brand steels like AEBL, which is a Bowler steel, and 14C28N, which is a Sandvik steel. Not strictly identical to either of those two, but in a very close ballpark with them. Next question comes from Duncan McKim. There you go. That makes more sense than
Poor McKim getting dunked on.
or getting dunked. If you are Duncan McKim, it's supposed to be the lightning round. We're supposed to have speed in this this section. So let's talk about this name a little bit more. Duncan McKim. I love the content. I love a wire clip and the safety with bias towards closure of a lockback. Any recommendations? Man, you got to check out the Spyderco Chaparral. Shoe in for this sort of thing. This version right here is the Rafer Noble handles. Comes in about $185. There are some injection molded versions that for less money. There's a nice, for about just over $200, there's a Bird's Eye Maplewood handled version, which is also cool. They all come with XHP blade steel at this point in time with a nice thin, slicey grind. And you got your back lock and a wire pocket clip as well. Very cool little knife. Check it out. The Dragonfly is actually another classic with that combination. You could check out the Dragonfly 2 as well. See what I did there?
Yeah, I saw him.
Didn't make him laugh, but he saw it. It's fine. Well, now we come to our final question of the day, which is, of course, our most seriousest question of the day, which comes from Leftyotism. I got a serious problem. I have to accompany someone into the closet realm where only small people live, and I want to bring them a full-fetched Bowie knife for their size. Is there a tiny Bowie knife I could bring them, or any other sort of miniature knives that are made just like their big version? Thanks a lot in advance. It's really important.
Asking for a friend.
The Demko Armiger 2 is exactly what you're looking for. It's very affordable. It's just under $20. You got a simple stainless steel blade, 4034 stainless, injection molded handle, which is about a 2 to 2.5 finger grip, depending on how you're holding it. Probably mostly a 2-finger grip for me, although you could squeeze up. And a little 2-inch clip point Bowie style blade. Full flat ground, also available with serrations, if that's your thing. Check it out. Comes with the ye old little sheath right there as well. I hope that helps. Say hi to the little people for me. Well, that's all we've got for today. Keep your questions coming. Keep your most serious questions coming as well. Inspire me, folks. Challenge issued. If you want to get your hands on any of these knives, you can check out the links in the description. If you've got any alternate answers to any of the questions, put them in the comment section as well as, of course, your own questions. And while you're over at our website, don't forget about our long-running Knife Rewards program, because the least thing we can do when you buy one of our knives today is, Thomas, you know what it is, give you some free money to spend on your next one. That's it for now. I'm David C. Anderson from the Knife Center. That's Thomas behind the camera, and we are signing off. See you next time.
I like money.
That's good.